Life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes it breaks you. After a training accident left me paralysed from the neck down, I had to rebuild my body, my mind and my life. I'm Ryan Curtis, and every episode we dig into the chaos that shapes who we become. Before we get into the episode, it'd mean the absolute world to us if you could follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're currently listening to this on. For you guys, it's just a small click of the button, but for us, it's huge to grow the podcast, to get bigger guests on and have more interesting conversations for you. Thanks so much and enjoy the episode. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Made in Chaos with me, Ryan Curtis. On today's episode, we have Kenny Egan. Kenny has one of Ireland's greatest Olympic boxing stories, a silver medalist in Beijing 2008, and someone who has reached the very top of amateur boxing. But once the gloves were off, the praise and the homecoming, Kenny had to fight a different kind of fight. Addiction, identity, pressure, and trying to rebuild himself outside of the ring. Our conversation is about what happens when the biggest win of your life doesn't fix everything, and how you find yourself again when the version of you everybody celebrates is also the version that's silently struggling. Kenny, tell us a little bit about growing up in Clondalkin before boxing became serious.
Yeah, Clondalkin come from a family of 5 boys. We left Neilstown actually and moved up to Knockmitten when I was 2 or 3, so very vague memories of Neilstown itself. But we started a new life up in Woodford, Knockmitten, so the 5 of us moved up there with mum and dad. Normal house, normal crack with the 5 of us, you know, killing each other around the house and having the usual banter. But my eldest brother, Willie, he joined Neilstown Boxing Club before we moved. So I would always hear him coming in and asking me man for subs. I didn't know what that meant, you know, when I was small. Every week he'd be hitting me man for money, and until I learnt myself when I went to the club myself, the subs was for Neilstown Boxing Club. But so look, a great childhood in my own family, you know, the 5 of us together having the crack growing up. Mum and dad, great parents, you know, doing the best for us, the best they could. Remember moving into the new house in Woodford, and there was no back walls, and we had neighbours, and the neighbours were looking into us thinking, because my mum's a Kilkenny woman, and they weren't too impressed with this Kilkenny woman coming up and taking a house off the Dubs, you know. But we moved in and we were all out the back garden messing, and my mum came out in our poshest voice, asked us to come in to have some salmon, you know, to make an impression to the neighbours. There was no salmon in the house at all.
A tin of tuna.
Yeah, of course, yeah, if you're lucky. So, you know, that keeping up appearances at the start, you know, just to try and blend in and avoid confrontation with the neighbours. But it worked out well, and she got on great with all the neighbours at the end of the day. But it was great to have the 5 of us in the house, you know. We tormented her now, don't get me wrong. Jesus, 5 boys growing up.
Especially 5 boys, yeah. A lot of
messing, a lot of banter, a lot of slagging, a lot of you know, the slagging's great. Even when we get together today, thank God the 5 of us are still alive. We meet up regular. There's no animosity between the 5 of us. We get on great, you know what I mean? We're very close.
Yeah, I like that.
And when we meet up, which is kind of rare enough, we have a brother living in Germany. I was over at the Paddy Dunham fight. I met him over there a couple of weeks ago. But when we meet up the 5 of us together, we just, you know, my mum used to love that when the 5 of us are together sitting in the kitchen. Yeah. We just bounce off each other. The slagging be
great
mighty.
That you all have a good relationship with each other.
Yeah, we always have. It's been great, you know. And like, I'm a psychotherapist, and I work with family estrangement and, you know, siblings not talking to each other for years. And it's horrendous to hear that, you know, because of something that happened, that they stay away from that and they won't go near that relationship and they leave it and the clock keeps ticking and they'll never get that time back. Yeah. And I'm blessed that way that I've the 5 of us are still very, very close and we do that for each other. We're on the end of a phone. Anyone needs a hand or a lift or a favour, we're always there, you know. It's great that way. So I think that's down to the rearing, I think, of my mum and dad as well. They've reared 5 great lads,
Why do you think you were all so close? Like, was there certain things that your man and dad probably would have done, you know? Because I've heard, like, you know, say for example, just making everybody sit down at the kitchen table, there's no eating in different rooms, and I've heard stuff like that is quite good for
in my house, my dad worked all the time. He was a chef up in the Green Isle and he was working split shifts. My mum was at home looking after the 5 of us. But I think she instilled in us just the element of respect, you know, respecting each other. You know, my door was an open door. all, as you can imagine, 5 boys with 5 different groups of mates.
Yes.
There was so many people coming out of the house, and my mum would never refuse anyone.
Yeah.
The big pot on, pot of stew or whatever, in just come. It was the Egans, eating at the Egans.
Yeah.
Open door policy, very open and just great crack. But we all get on great right throughout the years, and never any issues at all with the 5 of us. But thank God, today still going strong. But I just think, and the sport as well. Myself, my eldest brother Willie, and my youngest brother John. We all tried the boxing, and eldest brother got out of it just before senior level. He got beaten in one of his senior championships, and he walked away from it. And my little brother, he retired early, and they say that he could have been the best out of the 3 of us.
Yeah.
He was a very good southpaw as well, but he didn't continue. He got beaten early in his career, and he had enough of it. We walked away from it. So I was the one that stuck it out, I suppose, and went on then to continue with the sport.
Did any of them win All Irelands or anything like that?
My eldest brother won a few underage Irish titles.
Nice.
Willie, he was very good now. He was decent. Southpaw as well. The 3 of us were 3 southpaws and 3 right-handed southpaws, which is rare.
Right, okay.
Now, I didn't start southpaw in my club in Neilstown. I boxed orthodox for the first couple of years. But I wasn't great, and I openly say this, I wasn't a great boxer starting off. I was pretty awkward, pretty silly, coordination was terrible. And one day my coach at the time, Noel Humpson, who has passed away since, Lord rest his soul, but he was a great man, he just asked me to switch one day. And I switched southpaw, and I was moving around my feet, and I felt a little bit better on my feet. I said, okay, I'll try this for a while. And that was the start of my boxing career. I kind of switched.
It'd be rare enough, that wouldn't it, that they'd get you to switch in boxing. It's obviously a little bit different now. Terence Crawford, Hagler was really good at it.
Yeah.
But predominantly, like, if you start in a
normally when you walk into a boxing club, the coach will ask you, right-handed or left-handed?
Yeah.
And if you say you're right-handed, he'll say, right, you're orthodox.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it, Yeah. So, and that's where I am, right-handed. But I just felt great southpaw. My brother was a southpaw, right-handed southpaw.
Why do you think he asked you to switch one day?
Because I wasn't great on my feet.
Right.
I was falling over. My coordination was terrible. When I was throwing shots, I was overreaching.
Yeah.
All these type of things, silly stuff.
Yeah.
So he just turned the other way for a minute, and I started moving on my feet, and I just felt a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then obviously being a right-handed southpaw, your right hand is the closest to the target.
Yeah.
So that's your lead hand.
job,
And 9 times out of 10 when you're stepping into the ring against someone, they think you're left-handed.
Yes.
But they're not expecting a right hook to the side of the head with a bit of meat in it, which stands to,
Yeah.
And my right hand was very, very busy when I was boxing, with the height of my career.
Which would be a little bit different for a southpaw, wouldn't it? Because obviously the big shot is the backhand.
It's the backhand, exactly. Yeah. I had a decent left hand as well, so it worked out well. And I'm a counter puncher as well, so it was a real awkward southpaw, hard to hit, decent right hook, and a great left hand to the body. So it worked out well that way. That I switched when I was 11 or 12. If I had stayed orthodox, I don't know how far I would have got,
Yeah.
But the fact that I turned southpaw allowed me experiment with the southpaw stance and I suppose improve it and develop it.
Yeah, it's southpaws are like
people hate fighting southpaws. I don't like fighting southpaws, and I'm a southpaw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember even fighting southpaws, and I'd be like, southpaw, do you know what I mean? It's just always tricky, and for the most part, they're always really slick. Southpaws are, for the most part, really slick. It's one shot that I used to just love seeing people throw from southpaws. That I call it the rigging though, where he just bowlows it up the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, lovely shot.
Always used to love, but like I remember, southpaws are really good at that shot in particular. And southpaws they're just a nightmare to deal with. Like I said, like always really slick and stuff. Lomachenko, another great southpaw as well.
Usyk, yeah.
When do you think, like, how long were you doing boxing where you figured out, like, where you're like, I really want to take this serious and start doing big things now?
Like when like I said at the start, my boxing career was very, very bad at the start. Started boxing at 8 or 9, Neilstown Boxing Club. Went to my 4-star Ireland Championships at 11. You're only allowed to box when you're 11 officially. And I got beaten in the All-Ireland final in the National Stadium. And devastated.
Yeah,
to my family, heartbreaking. So went back to the gym. Went back in, trained again for another year. Second attempt at the All-Irelands. Give it another go. Got to the final. Got beaten again. And then a third time, got to the final again. What happened? Got beaten again. And I'm saying to myself, this sport is not for me.
Was there any suspect decisions?
No, I was beaten. I wasn't good enough. I just wasn't good. And I was telling myself I wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
why am I doing this? I'm shy. I can't box. I'm brutal.
Yeah.
And then I was going to retire at 13 years of age. this boxing lark's not for me.
Really?
Heartbreak. Oh yeah, sick of this. This is
That's what
shite.
it is. It's heavy when you keep on just
You're
getting
losing.
down as well.
You know, the guy that almost made it. You know, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Kenneth's great. He gets to a final, then he bottles it. You know.
Yeah.
So that was 3 in a row. I says, here, this is not for me. And my coach, Noel Humps at the time, Kenny, he says, your time will come. Just keep training. It'll be good. It'll be good. Just give it one more go. And I gave it one more go. Went back into the All Irelands. Got to the final again in my 4th attempt, and I won the Irish title.
Brilliant.
At 14. And I went on to win 15 after that in a row.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. Because there was did you win 11 straight?
10 senior titles,
10
seniors.
And you were the first one to ever do that, weren't you?
Yeah. The only one.
The only one.
The only male boxer to ever win 10 consecutive senior titles.
Yeah, because like when I was saying, I remember
like
saying
a decade.
that
That's,
ages
you know,
ago.
I had a great run at it. But if I had walked away at 13, I would have never won the 10 senior titles.
Perseverance.
You know, and I started winning titles then, and I started becoming kind of half decent. The southpaw stance was suiting me. You know, I was getting good, great counter puncher, and I could hear people whistling in the background talking, yeah, he's a good counter puncher, he can move and all this type of stuff. And that gave me a little bit of a confidence.
Yeah.
And that was, look, it's great. Don't get me wrong. Everyone has different perceptions of where their career is going or how good they want to be or, you know, what their limits are. Some people, their dream is to win an Irish title, senior title.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And retire and walk away and be all proud of themselves. And I did want to win a senior title because no one had ever won a senior title of our club in Neilstown.
Right.
My brother got to a final a couple of times, and you know, there was no actually Irish senior champion in Neilstown Boxing Club open since 1979. So long time coming. So I won me boys into me juniors up into intermediate, and remember entering the senior championships at 19. I was only turned 19 in the January, and I got to a final again, and I won the first senior title in 2001, first time for Neilstown Boxing Club. And that was great, don't get me wrong, amazing, champion of Ireland as a senior boxer, you know. Every boxer wants to win that senior title. But then I was looking further afield. I wanted, let's see how far we can go here.
Right.
The senior title wasn't enough for me, you know.
Which I probably wouldn't have thought that because you were saying that like you were actually ready to pack it in and you actually didn't want to do it. Do you know? And then I would have probably thought like you would have got complacent with the senior title and then been like, oh no, this is me now, but you wanted to go further from then, yeah.
I was training hard for the seniors. I was the underdog because I was so young, 19, coming into it. There's a couple of big lads in the way, and I just kept my head together. Now the only downside of that was my coach Noel Humpson passed away in 2000. Didn't get to see me winning my first senior title in 2001, and that was tough.
Difficult
you know.
fight, I'd say.
He was there for 10 years before that, teaching me how to box and instilling in me a bit of belief. And you know,
because nearly when you win them, it's for them as well.
Of course, it's for your club, it's for your coaches, it's for your family, it's for all those people that are being part of that journey. And for him not to be there was tough, you know. But winning my first senior title felt great experience, great celebration. And then you're part of the Irish squad. Then you're number one in the country. You get selected for international duty. You're wearing the Irish vest. Now, we'd wore a couple of vests underage, but to be a senior boxer with an Irish vest on you,
I think senior is a different level.
It's
though,
different.
Isn't it? Like
it's the best of the best in the country. You're in with men.
Like, not to say anybody who wins underage All Ireland's,
but no one remembers an underage Irish champion.
Yeah.
Senior title is the cream of the crop, you know. And for me to win my first one at 19, then go on, then defend it, and then just go on a roll. And don't forget, every year my team changed around me because lads were getting beaten in the seniors. So we had a different team with me every year.
Right, okay.
I kept winning.
Yeah.
New boxers coming in. Oh, how are you? I'm Kenny. Nice to meet you. So you're in with this different team all the time for the whole decade.
And would that have been in the high performance?
The high performance didn't start initially. I won my first senior title in 2001. So from 2001 to 2003, it was kind of messed up. Irish boxing was all over the place. There was no structure. There was no head coaches. There was no training camp base. There was nothing at all. So we'd meet up on weekends as senior champions, train together, and then go home and train in our clubs for the weekend.
Where would you meet?
In the National Stadium.
Right.
So, and there was different coaches every week. So there was no real proper guidance or structure. And we were going nowhere. We're in limbo. Irish boxing was in limbo. Now, I was just going with the flow because I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
So, I remember at the end of 2003, we were in the same gym on the floor, about 15 of us. The Irish champions and the Irish number 2 used to train together for sparring and stuff. You know, you'd spar your number 2 or whatever. And Gary Keegan walked into the gym. Now, I didn't know Gary from Adam, right? Little skinny man. You won't mind me saying that, but he's slim build. He walked in and he drew an imaginary line across the floor with his foot. And he said, I'm starting the high performance program. You're going to train full time, twice a day, 6 days a week. We're going to live here in the gym, sleep on the floor.
No way.
Yeah. And we're all standing in front of this line looking at each other going, who is this head case? Who's this
lunatic,
looper? I don't know from Adam.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself in my heart, well, what we're doing at the moment is there's nothing happening. We're not winning anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're brutal.
Something needs to change.
Something has to change here. Let's take a risk here in my head. So I stepped across the line first. Then Andy Lee stepped across it, and Eric Donovan. It was the whole lot of us got across the line. About 16 or 17 of us. But within 2 or 3 months of that, stepping across that line, that team dropped massively down to 5 or 6 boxers.
Right.
Lads weren't interested in training twice a day.
Yeah.
Sleeping on mattresses on the floor.
Yeah.
Living the high performance life.
And you did live there?
Yeah, we did. We slept on the gym floor. Inflatable mattresses we bought in the local B&Q. That was our high performance.
Yeah.
Now we'd there was no massive funding at the time.
Yeah.
But Gary Keegan had this vision that he wanted to change Irish boxing, starting from the ground up, making it rough and ready for us. We used to travel with all these green, white and orange tracksuits when we were heading off to different countries. Gary got rid of all that and just got black tracksuits. Black.
Right.
You're starting from scratch here.
Right,
Until you're wearing your stripes, then we wear green, white and orange.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
Just blending
Sound
it right
like
back.
he was switched
Oh,
on.
he was brilliant. And we brought in Billy Walsh, Zor Antia then from Georgia, the coach.
Yeah, because that's the guy I heard a lot about.
Zor is a genius, you know, and so he was building this structure around him, this vision that he had. You know, before he walked in and drew that line with his foot across the floor, the wheels were in motion long before that happened. He was building his team. He was building this idea of a high performance program and what it looked like and what it involved. But he needed the athletes to buy into it.
Yeah.
There's no point him saying all this on a whiteboard and saying, right, who's in? And no one steps across the line. So we all got across the line and we believed in this system because we had to do something because we weren't winning anything.
Yeah.
It was the Irish were known for going over to competitions, having a great first round, then getting tired and dying off.
Really?
Yeah. Our conditioning wasn't right. We used to love going on the piss after competitions. You know, all this type of thing.
Yeah.
The paddies are grand. You know, they're strong for a round.
They're just there.
They're there, they're taking up the numbers. And we wanted to change all that. And Gary wanted to change that. So when he brought in Billy and Zor, and I remember Zor came in and he'd no English, very, very limited English. And he got onto the floor and he started a boxing session with us, but he was teaching us through demonstration.
Yes.
Movement. And I'm looking at him, you know, and the way he was moving, the way he was feinting, the way he was rotating on his feet. And I'm going, my God, I've never seen that like this before.
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought I was probably about an 8 out of 10 because I had 3 senior titles under my belt and I was quite decent.
Yeah.
4 nations champion. You know, it was the cock of the walk.
Yeah.
And I got talking to Zor over lunch one day. And his broken English, I asked him what he thought we all were out of 10. And I said, well, I think I'm about an 8 out of 10, I said to him. And he says in his broken English, no, Kenny, you 2 out of 10.
No way.
Yes way.
Oh, shit.
And I said to myself, the cheeky fucker.
Bastard.
Yeah. Now that could have went 2 ways.
Yeah, of course.
I could have told him that, I'm not working with you, you cheeky, who are you? Or, okay, let's fucking work together and make me an 8 out of 10.
Because I mean, you're after winning 3 senior titles.
I was a great bloke.
So,
yeah. You know, but really, looking back at it, I was very average. When you're looking at the grand scheme of things, like we're talking about Olympic level and what needs to be done to win at Olympic level, I was in the halfpenny place. I wasn't good at all. But when I latched onto Zor and listened to him and watched him and went with his guidance, I improved over the next. That was 2003. 5 years later, I was on the podium in Beijing.
Yeah.
So those 5 years. Now I didn't qualify for Athens in 2004. I just didn't feel I was good enough. Again, that self-doubt came into my head. We went over and we travelled and I had 3 chances to qualify for Athens and I failed all 3. We all came home. Only one man qualified, Andy Lee.
Yeah,
he qualified. He was brilliant. He just come onto the team, qualified and off he went. But I remember Billy Walsh rang me a couple of weeks before those Olympics, asked me to go to a training camp with Andy in France.
Right.
I didn't want to go. I said, why would I go? I'm not going to the Olympics. You know, full of resentment towards Andy because he had qualified and I was older and I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go help Andy out, you know.
Yeah.
And but I decided to go in the end. I went to France. He trained over there for 2 weeks. I was doing a bit of training with him. He was all different nations there. I remember on the last day we were going home and Andy Lee was packing his Olympic bag with all the 5 rings on it and they wanted to the gear you get.
Yeah.
Water bottles, your suits, your t-shirts, your caps. And there's me with my little shitty high-tech bag. I'm going back to Dublin. He's heading to Athens.
Yeah.
And I felt horrendous.
But probably a nice little kick up the arse for
But that was another time in my life where I wanted to retire.
Oh, really?
2004,
Right.
I said, I'm not good enough for this.
Yeah.
Like, he's younger than me coming in, qualifying, and off he goes. I'm at this the last couple of years, I'm not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
I just think it's time to hang up my gloves.
Yeah.
So that was another bout of retirement. So all these different little journeys and little questioning myself, you know. But I did deep down, I believed in the structure, the high performance program and what was involved in it and who was involved and what they wanted. They wanted the best out of us. So there's a big thing if you think about it. Olympic Games is every 4 years. It's a 4-year cycle. You have to qualify for your Olympics every 4 years. You don't just get selected if you win it or if you lose it or if you're a newcomer. So I was going to put all my eggs in the basket for 4 more years, which I did, right? To put everything into one basket, train for 4 years, take that risk and not know the outcome.
Yes.
I didn't know I was going to qualify for Beijing.
Yeah.
But I believed in the system. I believed in the people that were looking after us. Billy, Gary, Zor, the strength and condition, the whole lot.
More like you believed in them at that time than you probably did in yourself.
I did, yeah. I definitely did, because there was always that self-doubt. Am I good enough? Am I actually good enough to wear that tracksuit with the 5 rings on it?
Which is a bit mad in its own right, because you're still at the winning 3 senior titles, which is, yourself. It's like
no, it's great. Don't get me wrong. And I won a couple of small competitions around Europe, multi-nations, all that type of stuff. But to take that big step to become the Olympian, you have to. There's a big question there. Am I good enough? Should I wear that vest? Am I able to execute the game plan? And I failed that 3 times going to Athens, and I didn't qualify. I was devastated. So then to take that risk for 4 more years, not knowing the outcome, I went for it. I went, let's do this.
How did you feel in the camp in France, like level-wise against?
Look, I was as good as all of them, but the problem I had was executing the game plan at the right time. Like in that qualifying fight, I got the 2 qualifying where the competition I went to, I won my first 2 or 3 fights. Yeah. But the fight you had to qualify, I got beaten.
Right, yeah.
I was afraid to take that risk and take that leap.
Psychological thing, where it was like, oh, this is the one that matters, bollocks. Do you know what I mean?
But making it too big. Making it too big for me to take hold of and comprehend. So we just bottled it.
Yeah.
Bottled it.
Yeah.
And that was devastating for me. So because I wanted to be the Olympian so much. So then the cycle started again, but the system was good, strong, the coaching was brilliant. And off we went again, travelling all over the world for 4 more years. As I said, the team kept changing. Different team every year. I was winning my senior title. So now I was 8-time senior champion. Still no Olympian though.
No way.
8 in a row. But what's that mean for anyone? That's no good to me.
Yeah.
Well,
especially where you wanted to go.
Like people that would give their right hand for a senior title or for 8 of them in a row, fantastic, don't get me wrong. But I wanted that tracksuit with the 5 rings on it. So the Olympic cycle came around again then for Beijing. And of course,
probably people on the Olympic team that probably hadn't as many senior titles as yourself. Would that?
Sure, Paddy Barnes came in, won senior title and qualified for Beijing. You know what I mean?
So little
bollocks. Excuse me, language. But he didn't care. He had no pressure on him. He just went in there, went over to Chicago, qualified. Oh, I'm Olympian now. That's great.
Was probably out the back eating Corley Wooleys.
No. In fairness, he always struggled with his weight. Oh Jesus, he was the devil. Now
probably because he wouldn't stop eating.
For a man, I'm not going to say that he eats Corley Wooleys. That's your comment. Well, Paddy was a great trainer. Jesus, him and Mick Conlon and the boys, they trained so hard. But Paddy had to train extra hard because he was making weight all the time. The poor devil. Yeah. He had to make 48 regular. Yeah, 48. And an amazing athlete, an amazing fighter.
He's
but
great,
Jesus, and he comes in under me and qualifies, and I'm like, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah,
I'm
especially
thinking,
because he's only had to win.
I'm one of the most senior on the team here. A rake of senior titles behind me, but no Olympian. That's no good to me. So these lads started qualifying then, and I think it was John Joe Nevin qualified then, and John Joe Joyce. They were all qualifying. Myself and Darren Sutherland, Lord rest his soul, qualified on the same event. The last chance of Luna went to Greece to qualify, and he had qualified, and I had to beat a German to qualify, and I beat the German, and that's when I dropped to my knees. And that's when I qualified for the games in Athens, but I just went to Beijing to collect my medal.
Yes,
because the pressure was off. Once I became the Olympian, I was a different animal.
Yeah,
because I was going to the Olympic Games, going right. This is it now. No pressure. I'm going to go out here and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And when I went out to the Olympic Games, like I said it before, like I conceded five clean shots.
Yeah, I remember watching your boxing
in 5 fights. Like 8-0s, 9-2s, 10-0.
Which you shouldn't really be doing to people in the Olympics.
Not at all.
Because it's that level.
The standard is savage.
Yeah.
So, and I remember Zora had a vision, or what would you call it? This kind of a dream, a premonition that I would get to the final against Russia. Artur Beterbiev was in the Russian team.
No way.
Yeah. We sparred him before we went out to the Olympics. We were in a training camp in Russia. Me and him sparred before we went out. Animal. Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah. Great spar. But he had this vision that me and him were going to meet in the final, and that I'd beat him in the Olympic final. And obviously he got beaten. He got beaten early by the guy that beat me, Zhang, from China. And I remember walking into the dressing room.
Very good to him, that was. Yeah. In fairness to him, like.
After my fight, I won, and I came in, and there was Artur Beterbiev was in the dressing room, his head down, And I'd won. I get into the shower and he came in to me, well done, he says, and best of luck in the competition. Nice for him to say that. Because I'd known him through the last couple of years previous, doing training camps and stuff. But he went on to turn pro. He went to London and then he went pro and he's done amazing things since. But I went on then 5 fights, fight after fight, winning comfortably, you know, and getting to win Olympic final. But it was just an amazing experience just to be part of that group of boxers, 5 boxers. But I said this in a previous podcast, you know, when you look at the numbers, there was 54 athletes that represented Ireland that year in Beijing across all sports.
Yeah.
5 of those 54 were boxers. The 5 of them boxers, we all got beaten by the eventual winners of the Olympics, right? Everyone that beat us went on to win the gold. Out of the 5 of us, 3 of us one ended up in Alcoholics Anonymous, one ended up in Gamblers Anonymous, and one died by suicide.
Yeah.
Out of 3 medalists. They were the 3 medalists out of those 5 boxers.
Yeah, it's
so just show you. I know it's an event. It's the biggest one on the planet. It's the most watched sporting event on the planet. But each and every one of those 10,500 athletes, and in particular the 54 that were from Ireland, we all have our own stories. Everyone is an individual, has their own background, their own stories, their own struggles, and that's writing on the wall there to see that the stats there of the 3 medalists that won had different outcomes.
Do you think that's because of saying the studies on it before, where you build your whole life up to this momentous occasion and then it happens and then you kind of realise, oh, it's not as big as I thought it was, or else you achieve it and now it's like, what's next?
Looking back at it now with the head I have on me now and being 17, 16 or whatever years sober, you know, like how important was the Olympics at the time for me? It was everything. But looking back at it, it's only a sporting competition, you know.
I know, but when you're in it, you feel
of course, you think it's the be all and end all. Of course you do. And I struggled with when the final bell rang in that Olympic final. I dropped to my knees, and the first thought that came into my head was, "What the fuck do I do now?"
Yeah,
it's over. I wanted to stay in that ring forever.
Yeah,
you know. And I had no aspirations to go professional or anything. I had no talk of that. I had no visions of turning pro. I loved amateur boxing, loved everything about it. And I was a point scoring boxer. You know, I was a counter puncher. And then I come back to the country and the place was just upended. It was mad how the effect of some success that we had changed the nation, you know?
Yeah, because that's one thing that I wanted to ask you. When you look back at Beijing, does it feel like that was the best time of your life or the start of something harder?
Yeah, definitely. The start of a downfall, you know? And I do say this as well, you know, winning that medal in Beijing got me into recovery quicker.
Why?
Because if I hadn't won the medal and just come back just an Olympian, now it's an amazing thing to be Olympian.
Yeah, of course.
Or if I had just come back as the Olympian and no spotlight on me, I probably would have just continued what I was doing, drinking away, slowly drinking right through the rest of my career.
Yeah.
And ended up on the scrap heap with not a pot to piss in.
Yeah.
But when I come back from the games, it was boom, 0 to 90.
Yeah.
Hatchet. I mean bananas because I thought I was bulletproof, invincible. I'm a great bloke. The ego got a hold of me. The ego got the better of me. It happens,
it's
you know.
Understandable.
And I just went bananas and caused havoc. Now it wasn't violent. I was just stupid. Drinking to oblivion, letting people down, causing havoc, you know.
Would you say it was a great feeling as opposed to you felt overwhelmed?
I was overwhelmed and I struggled with how the country had changed so much when I come back, you know.
In terms of how?
Perception of me.
Right.
Everyone wanted to be part of you. Everyone wanted to piece you. Everyone wanted to know your business. Everyone wanted to know all about what's going on and wanted to get photos and looking for interviews. I've been to many competitions and come back with medals. Why is this any different, you know? But in the grand scheme of things, it's the Olympic Games. It's much bigger. And as a team of 5, we were never educated around what might happen if you get success.
Yeah.
We were just let out to the wolves.
Yeah.
And the media had a field day. Now, I was my own worst enemy because I did go out into the public eye and I was drinking and causing havoc, right? I brought it on myself. So I don't to blame on that. Back then I was blaming the media, telling them to leave me alone and all this type of stuff. It was nonsense.
But I can imagine it was very overwhelming, especially to go from 0 to 100, like you're saying. You know, you had won all these senior titles, which is such a high level, but nobody really paid much attention. You were at the representing or going to other countries and winning tournaments there, and then the next thing you know, now you're an Olympian. Now it's like there's people coming out of woodwork telling you you're the best thing since sliced bread. I'd say that, you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is it's understandable that would get into your head.
Yeah, of course it would, you know. I thought it was all important, you know. But in the background, there was people approaching me. I flew out to New York and Los Angeles looking at contracts to go professional because they
Yeah.
were throwing stupid money at me, you know.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, "Geez, this is great altogether." But deep down, I had no aspirations to go professional.
Why do you think that was?
I didn't know much about the sport because I was amateur all my life. I'd never really looked at the professional game.
It's so funny, isn't it, how people who don't really understand it think you're doing the same thing, but it's essentially two different sports.
Of course, a totally
You know,
different sport
like
altogether.
amateur boxing is way more technical.
Yeah, yeah. And like for me to and I had a long run in the amateur game, like from 2001 to 2013.
Yeah.
Like it's a long time
It's a long-
in
yeah.
amateur boxing. Some lads, like I said, you get one senior title, then they probably go pro or retire.
Yeah.
So I was in the amateur system a long time and mastered the actual sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I didn't have time to step away and learn that new sport of professional boxing.
Yeah.
You know that kind of way. So
Yeah, but do you think somebody with your skill level definitely could have adapted now?
but hindsight's a great thing.
Yeah.
But at the
true,
time, when I was approached with these contracts and talking about going professional and all these different things, I was drinking like a demon.
Yeah.
I was out of control. Those 2 years after the Olympic Games, like it took me 18 years, right, from when I put on my first pair of boxing gloves, 18 years to get to my Everest, if you like, my Olympic
Yes.
Games. Took me 2 years to hit rock bottom.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Like 2008 to 2010, I can't remember much of it.
Do you think that's
Genuinely.
because like you are so hyper focused on getting to the Olympics, and then when it happened, then you're like, well, what do I do now?
What do I do
Who
now?
am I
That's
now?
exactly that loss of identity, you know.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that. And to make these big decisions, life-changing decisions, if I was to go pro and sign these contracts, I didn't know who I was going pro with. You know, I didn't know what promoters were good. Who's worse than
Yeah.
than they're all worth as bad as each other, you know.
Yeah, because let's be honest, they're all out for
it's
themselves.
corrupt, yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, I hear this in the background that they're all bogey and this, that, and the other, and I just didn't know what I was doing. And while I was thinking about all that, I was drinking and drinking and drinking.
Which
And I
probably
remember-
would have clouded your judgment a good bit.
Disaster. And I could visualize myself if I had a sign that I would have been stuck in some sort of a contract that I couldn't get out of, and God knows where I'd end up, you know. And I remember on the final hour, a guy called Joey Winters, right? He sold his haulage company in New York for 100 million at the time. 100 million. His mum was from County Clare.
Right.
We had travelled over to meet this guy, right, in America, in New York. Collected us in his big fancy America, brought us out to his mum's house out in Long Island. Lovely, right?
Class.
Talking about, I want to bring an Irish man over here to turn him into a superstar. And that was me. He wanted me to do this, right? So that
Yeah.
was great. So went over, finished meeting with him. Then what do we do at night time in New York?
Drink.
Yeah, right. So we're back to
Oh.
Dublin anyway. But remember, he flew back over because I was thinking, you know what, I might actually give this a go and see what it looks like. And he flew over and we met in the Clarion Hotel at Liffey Valley there. And he had a big document ready for me to sign, the contract. And I'm sitting there shaking like a leaf after being on the piss. And my brother was there and my coach was there, and he turns up and the final hour or the final minute, I said, Joey, I'm sorry, I just can't sign this. I'm not in a position to do this. And he was pissed off because he'd flown over from New York. So he took the contract and off he went, stormed out of the hotel. And that was when I said to myself, you know what, I need to start looking after number one here. And I had to get myself into recovery.
Yeah,
I had to stop drinking.
Would you say that was the turning point for you?
I was one of them because there was no way I could sign that contract and go to America and try and be this amazing boxer while still dealing with this issue with
Yes.
drinking. Because if I had kept drinking in America, where would I end up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Cutting training camps short, letting people down, causing havoc, all while still in a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
And fine print, it was 10 years, you know.
Yeah, it would have been difficult, alright. You know?
So I decided to walk away from the money, all that type of stuff, and look at recovery, look at getting into AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and kind of figure out what was going on for me and staying sober on a daily basis. And that was the start of my journey. Stepping away from that, I knocked into a neighbour of mine who had been in recovery 20 years. Now, I didn't know anything about AA or anything like it, and I just told him, look, I think I want to get into a treatment centre. He says, I don't think you need a treatment centre, just come to me to a meeting.
Right.
And I said, yeah, but what, people recognise me?
Yeah, of
You know, the
course.
shame, you know.
Which is understandable.
Of course it is, yeah,
Yeah.
but it was the best thing I ever done, you know. Walked into a meeting in Lucan, and as soon as I walked in the door, some guy recognised me. Kenny, how are you keeping? You having a cup of tea? He said.
Just like
Like that. I said, yeah, I'll have a cup of tea. And I sat at the back of the room, and that was the start of my recovery.
Yeah.
3 months in, sober. 3 months, the longest I've ever been sober in my life, going to AA, getting recovery. And I had to go to Africa to build houses for a charity I'd signed up a year previous.
Fuck, right.
So I'm thinking, should I go to this trip or not? And I was booked and everything. I got my injections and off I went to Africa, to Uganda.
Right.
For Nurture Africa, a brilliant charity I've done a lot of work with. And I was over there for 3 weeks, working, building houses, mixing the cement. Perfect volunteer.
Yeah.
No one knew I was in
Yes.
recovery. Perfect. And at the last night, they had a going away party in this little bungalow all the teachers turned up and a couple of nurses, and one fellow had a guitar in the corner. But before I went down, I was in my mosquito net thinking, should I go to this party? I'm 3 months sober now. I'm in a good place. Head's clear. I'm going home tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, should I just go down just for an hour? So I went down to the party, the house, and there were a couple of sing-songs and that. And there was a round table in the corner of the room with loads of crisps and popcorn on it. And I looked over it, and what was sticking out of the middle of it? A bottle of Red Label of vodka.
Yeah.
Smirnoff. And I'm sitting there with my glass of Coke, just drinking and having a crack with the lads. And I kept looking over and looking away and looking, and it was like it was flirting with me, blowing me a kiss and winking at me. The power of that addiction, you know. And I said to myself, I'll go out, I'll have one. Yeah. So I walked over, poured myself, dropped vodka into the glass. And I remember it like it was yesterday, Ryan, I swear to God, sitting here in this chair, the heat of the alcohol going into my system. And I always used to refer to when I was drinking, I'd look like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
I'd go green, you know, unstoppable. Let's go, carnage, yes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the session then, I'm like the Incredible Hulk when he turns back to normal. His jeans all torn, hanging off, his arse hanging out of his jeans. That'd be me when I'm sober again. With a hangover, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I can visualise it. And of course, I'd lashed the vodka over, and an hour later I got carried out of that place, back to my mosquito net.
Yeah.
Got back up the next morning, went back into Kampala, into the city, on my own, drinking, on my own. Now, not the safest place in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They managed to find me with my suitcase and my passport, got me onto the plane. I drank for 2 weeks after that, every day, all day, every day. And the last drink I had was the 12th of August 2010. I was in Nice in a pub on my own. Don't know where I ended up. Still the same jeans on me, with a smell of piss rising off them. And my mum walked, the door opened in the pub, the sun blasted through the door. My mum was at the front of the door. She walked in, she says, come home, son. They were the only words she uttered. I put the pool cue down, the half pint of Guinness, got into the back of the car, she got a lift down. I sat in the back of the car all the way home, not saying a word. And that was the last day I drank.
Brilliant. Fuck.
12th of August 2010. I haven't drank since.
Remember that?
Yeah, always clear as day.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't remember the 10 days of drinking, where I was, who I was with.
Yeah.
Like, it was Russian roulette when I drank.
Yeah.
Blackouts to beat the band. Scary stuff. Waking up beside people you don't know whose house I'm in. Looking around the place. Putting the jeans back on and going again.
Yeah. So, yeah, because it used to happen to me a little
Horrible.
bit. It used to happen to me. I was never really a big drinker, if I'm going to be honest, but it used to happen to me a little bit when I was younger, because what would happen would be, I'm in this big training camp for one of my fights, and I used to go out with my friends all the time and go out to nightclubs and not drink and just sit there. But it'd be like, after fights, it's like, oh, now's the time to have fun, and you know, and there was a couple of times where I drank too much and blacked out, and then I remember just kind of, as I was getting more mature, going like, that's not the way anybody should be drinking. You should never, you know, be drinking to a point where you lose all control of your body or whatever, you know, especially just now being a fighter and knowing the dangers that's out there, and, you know, you putting yourself in such a vulnerable position where don't even worry about people not knowing how to fight, and people could just come over and push it over and you'd be done, you know. So that happened to me a couple of times, like where I blacked out when I was younger, and now thank God nothing bad or that never happened, but I remember just thinking that should never happen and it won't happen again, you know, and then kind of just matured. Now I'd have the odd today, like have the odd glass of wine, probably, to be honest, probably twice a year, but it just it wouldn't kind of do it for me. You know, I know some people are I even have friends who would drink quite a bit, and that's how even people in my family and stuff, that's how they kind of socialise a little bit, which, but it's like that in Ireland, isn't it? You know, with the baby is born, so we'll have a drink. You know, someone dies, we'll have it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, some of the best parties I've ever been at in my life have been funerals. Yeah. You know, it's like the Irish are just, they just are mad when it comes to the drink, but I notice in Irish culture, it's getting less and less, I'd say, now, but everything is centred around having a drink. You know, you're having it, let's celebrate, so we'll have a drink. You know, something bad's happening, come on, we go to the pub and we'll just talk over a point, you know. But I notice it's getting less and less.
It's that social factor, all right. You know, we've been brought up in it, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know, you go to the pub for a bit of crack and a bit of banter with the lads. Or, you know, and then as you say, funerals, weddings, christenings, it's all sorts, you know. And you have these parents organising christenings and getting 20 trays in for the christening. Like, this is about the daughter or the son.
It's not.
You know what I mean? And then you have this lovely white dress, and then onto the side, then there's a keg or whatever it is ordered in as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's it really about?
A quick word from our sponsors, The Ink Factory. If you're looking for the best tattoo studio in Ireland, The Ink Factory in Temple Bar is one of the highest rated tattoo studios in the country, with over 5,000 5-star Google reviews. They're home to 30 expert artists, including award-winning talent covering every style from fine line to full custom pieces. They also offer professional piercings from just €25, including jewellery. So whether it's your first tattoo or your next one, you're in safe hands. Visit www.theinkfactory.ie or follow them on Instagram and TikTok at The Ink Factory. Yeah, because it's with the christening
It's the perfect
thing.
excuse to get pissed and have the crack, you know what I mean? But now look, I had some great sessions in my day. Don't get me wrong, Jesus Christ. But
Like probably still good stories that you would still...
Yeah, like I've no regrets in that sense. But you know, when it was time for me to stop, I had to stop. You know, enough was enough. You know, and like I have this vision, like if I had kept drinking, right, that 15 years later, 16 years later, like we are today now, if I was still drinking, there's a lovely photo in my local pub of me with the medal, I mean in the bar.
Class.
Right? And I can envisage myself 15, 16 years later, if I had kept drinking, sitting in that bar, right? Giving some 18-year-old a nudge and saying, do you see that fella up there in the picture?
Me.
That's me. Any chance you can buy me a pint?
Yeah. Because one of my favourite
You know?
sayings is me boxing coach, Teddy. He says, what goes around the world but never moves? A bar still.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what he does
It's
always
so true.
say.
Yeah.
You know, I used to do this and I used to do that, because Teddy, he's 13 years sober himself,
Brilliant.
you know. And we do often talk about it, you know, but he was very good at guiding me throughout my career, you know, and I'm still as close as ever with him today. But yeah, I never forgot when he said that, you know, what goes around the world but never moves a bar still, you know, when you're 100% right. So funny, I'll tell you this story real quick. I was after one of my fights, and like one of my locals in Dublin 1, my friend, I was after one of my fights, and one of my friends turned around and said, do you want to come to the pub? Like, you know, you don't really do it, so come on, we just go and have a little pint or whatever. And I was like, oh, right, it wouldn't bother me to do something like that, so I was like, I never do it, so I'm like, all right. Went up, and this guy comes over to me who I know from the area. Yeah, look, you look great in your last fight, but you should have done this and you should have done that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, sound, thanks very much. You know, I'm not really a rude person or whatever, you know. I was just kind of entertained and was like, oh yeah, thanks very much, I appreciate your advice. Fucking you wouldn't box a Christmas present, but, you know, you're going to tell me, but like, yeah, don't worry about it. Thanks very much, thanks for your advice. I think I was nearly... That was I left the pub that night or whatever after the point or whatever, and it was nearly 9 months to the day that I was back in the same pub. Again, one of the boys just asked me to drop up. I was like, all right. The same fella was over telling me the same stories. Wow. Just even the same story in his own life.
Time warp, yeah.
And that's exactly, I turned around from him, I says, look, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm telling you this for your own good. You were saying all the same shit to me 9 months ago. And I'm only telling you this for your own good. You need to start doing something better with your life.
Yeah, the saying goes, nothing changes when nothing changes. Yeah. It's so true. Jesus Christ.
But I couldn't believe I was like, because it was so vivid for me, you know. I was like, this fella was saying the exact same stuff to me, you know, and like that, he's a harmless fella, you know, no malice or anything, you know, just, but I just was saying to him, look, this is for your own good, you need to start doing. Now, don't know if he took me advice, because I still do say I'm standing outside the pub, but yeah, it's just I
do see it myself with people that I've drank with, you know, back in the days, in my early 20s up into my late mid-20s, and great sessions with them, great crack. And when I stepped away from that drinking culture, you know, I had to do other things, and you know, I had to reinvent myself, because I thought at the start, what am I going to do if I'm not drinking?
Yeah, of course.
Socially, what am I going to do? Yeah. But, and I still see the same lads walking in and out of the pub, you know.
Yeah.
Still living in their parents in their mid-40s, you know, heading towards 50, you know. Yeah. Thinking that's their life. So are they happy with that? They probably are. But like, for me, that's not living.
Yeah.
You know, that's not living. And I don't have the shackles now of the pub around me neck. Yes. You know, knowing that I have to go up now and sit at a high stool and talk nonsense for 3 or 4 hours, then going home to bed and doing that on a regular basis. For me, it's a waste of time and a waste of money. I'm blessed.
I'd say kind of your circle dramatically changed when you stopped. It was like, because what I do see a lot with people, especially even younger people, that they don't necessarily have friends. It's just people who they party with.
That's all.
And then when they stop partying, they realise, oh, I've actually nothing in common with you at all.
I had to break away from all that kind of group of people. And I did feel sorry for myself, going, well, I'm not going to drink anymore. What's going to happen now? I'm going to be a loner, you know. But I connected with people in Alcoholics Anonymous in recovery. I met some great friends in there that I still have today, you know, and I still go to AA. And it was just stepping away from the pub culture. You know, there's no point me sitting on a high stool drinking a 7-Up for 5 or 6 hours in an evening. That's not going to work, you know. I drank to get drunk.
Exactly.
I've never ever drank in my whole life, ever drank socially. From the first time I drank at 13 or 14, I've drank to oblivion.
Yeah.
That's me all over.
Just go for it.
When I'm looking at that first point, I'm rubbing my hands going, right, I don't know where I'm going to be after this first point.
Yeah.
It's Russian roulette. Yeah. And that's the excitement of it, the madness. When I see that first point, I'm going, right, you know, this could last a night, it could last 10 nights. God knows, I'm a wad full of 50s there. Let's just go. Let's have a bit of crack. It's carnage, you know. Yeah. But that's how I lived. That's how I drank, you know.
I know, but you know what I did used to, like I was saying when I would, and I remember saying this when I was younger. I remember kind of saying to myself, why would anybody drink if they're not drinking to get drunk? Do you know? That was my mindset. But now I suppose that I am a little bit older, I can understand why people have like a glass of wine with a meal or a beer or whatever. You know, it's not really for me, I'm going to be honest. Like I say, I have the odd glass of wine with a meal or whatever, but it's not really my thing. But I can understand why people do it if they like for a little de-stressor, as long as it's not getting in the way of their life. But I still kind of like... well, what's the point?
I was on a train one day. I was going across Europe somewhere over to see my brother Paul, I think, in Germany. And I was sitting across from these two lads that were sitting there. They both had a long neck each, a bottle of beer. And they were talking perfect, nice little conversation, wherever in German. I was just watching them every now and again. And he'd pick up the bottle and have a little sip and then put it back down again. And I'm talking the smallest sip you could ever take of.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself,
boy,
drink the fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's me all over, you see. You know, when I have a pint, especially Guinness it's gone in 2 swigs. Yeah. And I'm looking at the barman before it's gone. Let's go. I'm in a hurry. I want to get out of my head here. Yeah. That's my type of drinking.
I do say in different cultures, isn't it? Like,
a little sip and they're yapping away all the way down the train and going, my God, fair play to them, they can do that. Whereas me, it was different. That's when I knew my drinking's not right, you know.
But even I knew from speaking to people in different cultures, like I would tell them we would drink before we go out to the pub or before, and they're like, what, they couldn't get their head around it. They're like, you're drinking to go out and drink? And I was like, yeah, that's what we did. It's like you pre-drink in your house in Ireland before you go out to have a drink.
And all the slagging, like you're sitting there in rounds with someone and you'd say, what's the story with you, buddy? You know, you're fighting with the barman. Because your point is not even gone yet, but you're going, get your arse up to the bar. You know, it's that rush, let's go, come on. You know, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but Jesus.
Yeah, it is.
You're fighting with the barman. No, boy, well, get your arse to the bar. You know,
but it's so
great humour. It's great humour. I love it. I love the wit.
The Irish people is great.
It's brilliant.
What do you think people misunderstand about addiction?
Yeah, look, it's insidious, you know, it affects everybody, you know, it doesn't just, excuse me, affect the man that's on the side of the road with a brown paper bag, you know. Yeah. You walk into Dublin city centre there, you'd see it, it's rampant and it's horrendous to see, you know, but it affects everybody. It doesn't discriminate. And there I am, like perfect example of someone that's standing on an Olympic podium with a medal around his neck, you know, and 2 years later then knocking on a door of an AA meeting, looking for help and looking for recovery. So, but I think that the most important piece of that is, the message I would give is, you know, if you do feel that your drinking is getting out of hand, or you're missing work, or you're missing the Monday, or you're letting your kids down, or you're missing appointments, or all those little things, that could be the start of something more sinister that could get worse. So awareness is very important. And for me, I have great awareness today that allows me to make good decisions. So if you are aware of your drinking...
Do you think that just came through clarity from not drinking? Do you think
experience,
the awareness?
Exactly, and doing the right thing on a daily basis. And if people can see that something's not right with them, or their behaviour is not right, or they question it, they need to address it. Don't kick the can down the road saying, "Oh, that might filter away now. That might sort itself out." It won't sort itself out. You're walking with that cloud over you.
I think in Ireland, because we are such, we have such a big drinking culture. Like I think a lot of times people don't even really see it as a problem because it's just stuff that we do, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know, if you're someone that's drinking and, like I said, you're missing days at work, or your boss called you in a couple of times because you're missing a Monday and a Tuesday, or your kids aren't talking to you anymore, or you know, there's loads of different things that can happen from ripple effect of addiction. You know, then you need to look at yourself in the mirror, and it starts with the individual. You know, there's a big stone outside Coombe written at Toy, and engraved in it is, the only person I can change is myself. So, like, no one could stop me from drinking. Nobody. My mum, my poor mother tried her damnedest to try and stop me from drinking. My mates telling me I was drinking too much. Everyone telling me I'm drinking, but I didn't understand. I didn't accept it until I accepted myself that I was powerless. Then that's when the wheel started to turn for me to change.
Do you ever remember one single point where you're like, oh, something has to change here because it's just...
Like, I remember waking up regular, just in a world of hurt, shaking, twitching. Or there was one stage where I was lying in my bed, and the withdrawals were so severe and so bad that I remember lying in my bed one night and the bed started shaking like Poltergeist. Remember the film Poltergeist? The bed's just violently shaking. And I'm visualising the bed shaking violently. And I look up at the end of the bed and there's this man, 8 foot tall, in a black cloak. You just see a big black cloak. And you look into the hood, you just see darkness. And that frightened the bejesus out of me. You know, someone standing at the end of my bed that size looking down at me and the bed shaking. But that happened regular. So I got to the stage where I'd look up at this fella with the hood and give him a wink in my head, saying, it's all right, it's only him. Because it was so regular. I had no fear of that anymore. That's how bad it got.
You just
scary.
got used to seeing...
I got used to seeing this big bad man. He wasn't bad anymore. You know, this type of thing. And that's the scary thing about it, when you're trying to get used to this madness and these withdrawals and the carnage. But your body's just breaking down all the time. You know, you can't maintain that kind of living, that kind of drinking. And I was burning the candle at both ends. I was still trying to compete and still drink. Like, there was times where it was cutting. I was getting back into training camp 2 or 3 weeks.
On the Irish team, like, where it'd be
just stupid stuff. Like, I remember going to the World Championships after the Olympics out in Milan, and got beaten and went on the piss. And I remember being carried into the reception, and Billy Walsh was looking at me, and I think it was the Brazilian coach was actually carrying me in. That's not a way to behave or represent your country and all that type of stuff, you know. And that was just one of the stories where letting people down and just being a fucking idiot myself. That was early 2010. Before I went off it then in the August. But things were getting bad, and I knew myself. I had a good chat with Billy as well about it, and you know, everyone knew about it. There was one time actually, he asked me to come in and do a training session with a junior team. Me being the Olympic silver medalist, you know, the kids would love to see you come in, and I said, yeah, no, but I'll be in. I'll see you on the Monday, whatever day it was. Of course, I go bananas on a bender, and I turn up to the stadium. Now I'm in a world of hurt, and I bring the lads down to the end of the gym where there's hurdle hops, and I'm laying them out, and we're doing a strength and conditioning session. So I'm going to show the lads how to jump over the hurdle hops, like a warm up. And I'm looking at the hurdle hops, and there's 4 or 5 laid out. I see 15 laid out, and I make an effort to jump over the hurdle hop, and I miss the force and land on my head. You know, and I'm looking up at these 5 or 6 junior boxers, and they're looking at each other going, who is this cowboy?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Talk about embarrassment. Like this, I'm supposed to be a role model and someone that the kids look up to. There's me, I can't get over a hurdle hop because I'm hanging. So Billy says, get the fuck out of here, he said. And he ran me out the door, you know, and that's a shameful story. Now look, there's 1,000 of them. I could
of course.
sit here all day and entertain you with these stupid stories, but you know, it's part of the learning curve and the mistakes and the mess ups that I made that kind of steered me in the right direction.
Well, it's all learning, really, isn't it? You know?
I'm still learning today, sure. Jesus.
Of course.
Like, I have a 10-year-old daughter there that has never seen the inside of a pub. Has never seen me drunk. I'm sober longer than she's born. You know what I mean? So for me to give her that and be able to give her the time that she deserves, you know, I'm not putting her in the long finger and say, I'll see you later on. I'm going to the pub with the lads. None of that.
Which happens so much.
I'm available for her now, 24/7, whenever she needs me. You know.
Yeah.
That's a different life.
Yeah, nice.
That I can give her, you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the old Kenny Egan that was falling down and falling on his head and cutting his face and all this type of stuff through drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She doesn't have to go to school and the other kids talking about her daddy or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's all positive stuff, you know. I went into her school last year actually with the medal and gave a little story about the Olympics and all. That's recovery. That's recovery for me.
Yeah.
Being able to do that. Go in there with the medal and tell these kids about high performance and sport and being the best you can be in life and all those things. And there she is at the end of the class, all proud of her daddy.
Class.
That's
that
living.
Must feel
that's
so good for you,
that's
that
life,
well.
man. Yeah, of course it does. I know I made the right decision when I stopped. Jesus, whatever I do.
But even that, like, I suppose, even younger people listening to this, or even in the school, to just now kind of hear you say that that's what you shouldn't do, and kind of it would definitely steer them away from doing things like that, you know.
Yeah, and you know,
I think.
you have young lads and girls falling into these certain groups and probably being pressurised into doing certain things, you know, drinking this or taking that. But, you know, stand true to your core and do the right thing. You know, I'm a firm believer of, as long as I do the right thing today, I'm winning.
Yeah.
I'm
I
winning.
know, but it's,
you know,
kind of say, like, especially with teenagers, peer pressure is such a big thing.
it's massive. And experimentation, and let's try this and let's try that. Ah, go on. Don't be a little handbag, do it.
Yeah.
Well, and it is tough, of course. We're about the stuff that's out there these days, you know, and the struggles and the pressures and the Instagrams and all this type of stuff. It's very, very hard for young people. But, you know, with good parenting and good raising and good base and friendship, a good group of friends, you can't go wrong, you know what I mean? And pick your friends wisely, you know?
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me growing up, I just seeing so much in my own family that's exactly what I didn't want with my life, you know? So I was able to kind of stay away from it, because I was kind of looking, going, oh, well, I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? I don't want to be addicted to drugs. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to live my life like that, you know? But I definitely remember at the time, all my friends, you know, but I was just so busy with training. Now I did used to drink a little bit with my friends as well, but when I started I think sport is a great one, you know.
It kept me on the right straight and narrow for a long time, even though I ended up in Alcoholics Anonymous and whatever fell on me after the games. My Jesus, those teenage years.
Yeah.
Out of crime, away from all the madness.
Yeah.
But don't forget, 5 boys in a house. It's tough to manage 5 boys, your parents, you know what I mean? 5 lads that are up learning about life.
If you never would have had that in your life, there was probably no way back, where, because you had, like, you know, some dedication to get to the level that you had, and then you met good people, and, you know, just different thought processes throughout the years. I think that without sport, like, I know for me, like, it'd be naive of me, I'd like to think that I never would have got mixed up in anything if it wasn't for sport, but it'd be very naive of me to sit here and say that, because I don't know.
Yeah,
do you know, everybody, you know, my family and everything else, that would suggest that's probably the way I would have went. You know, so it'd be very naive. I'd like to think that without sport I wouldn't be, but it'd be very naive of me to think that. I think sport gave me discipline and gave me structure and gave me purpose, really, you know.
Yeah. And but same, like, when I was training, I trained very hard.
Yeah.
I really put it in. Like, I was really hard worker on the floor, on time, didn't miss any training, forced on the floor, last off it, pushed myself to the limit. Some of the training sessions were just horrendous. And so I worked really, really hard in that part of my life. But it's that element of when you had a couple of weeks off or you had time down, you're going, right, what do I do now? And there is that, you know, struggle. And what I didn't do, and I have one regret over it, is not, they say, you know, you should be doing a dual career, educating yourself while you're competing. Whereas I just had blinkers on, I wanted to be the Olympian. You know, I didn't educate myself while I was in that bubble of training full time, because there was so much downtime. You're only training twice a day. There's 4 or 5 hours in between sessions. There's weekends. You know, now look, it's different now because there's a lot of online education you can do now. Lads are spoiled. But back then it was just blinkers on, a box train, sleep, wherever it was.
I know, but to be honest, you don't know if you ever would have reached the level if you didn't have that attitude that you had, like, where there was blinkers on.
But they do say, though, it does help, you know what I mean? There is research out there to say that, you know, dual career is very beneficial for athletes, because there's not that added pressure. If I don't reach a certain level here, what have I got to fall back on? Whereas if you know that you have a little bit of a... Now, look, I don't know, would you push as hard then if you had nothing to fall back on? It's that catch-22, but like, I encourage young lads now when I talk to them to look at your education. Sport is fantastic, don't get me wrong, and it's helped so many people, but you can only compete for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the final bell rings. What do you do then?
Yeah,
I struggle with that.
It's a double-edged sword, though, isn't it? Because if you're not, I feel like if you're not entrenched in it, then sometimes it's hard to reach the pinnacle if you're not entrenched in it. But then sometimes you entrench yourself so much in it, because I definitely struggled around the past. Like, oh, Ryan Curtis, you're a fighter. That's when I walk down the street. Oh, there's Ryan Curtis. He's a fighter. He fought here. He done this. He's fought in MMA. How am I without that? Do you know? But I remember I said to myself when I was a little bit younger, look, you know, this is all gone one day, whether you like it or not. Nobody's any special, you have like a Bernard Hopkins or something who's like late into the career, but I suppose probably partly got to the way he didn't get into boxing until a little bit later as well himself. But I'm saying they're the outliers. Like most people, it's like mid to late 30s, you know what I mean?
You're lucky, yeah.
And then think about it, please God, we do live till 80, 90, 90 plus. You're more time in your life not being a fighter, really.
Yeah.
But I think I do, say it with people with, even my friends struggling. Who am I if I'm not a fighter? That identity thing. Because you've become this person your whole life.
Yeah.
And I think it's other people's perception of you as well. Isn't it not even so much about yourself? But when people see you, they're like, oh, that's Kenny Egan, he's a boxer, he's an Olympian.
Yeah.
But maybe in your head it's kind of different. You think about yourself different. But when you think of what other people are thinking about you, they think, oh, Kenny the boxer.
Yeah, and that's like it's two-sided. So when someone sees me walking on the street, they recognise me from could be the Olympic Games or something I've done on TV or whatever, papers, wherever it is, right? That's fine. But for me, that's okay. I don't mind that. Now, my missus doesn't like it that time. When I go around the country or something for an event or something, and everyone's looking at me and they're pointing at me and that pisses her off.
Right.
Because she can't understand this, that it's been so long since the Olympics, but the people still point and, but I don't mind.
Yeah,
it's
but
grand.
I suppose
it's fine.
you're a national hero in a sense.
But for me, I went to Beijing 2008 and performed out my skin for 2 weeks, right? Unbelievable boxing. Perfect, almost perfect.
Class.
I come back with Olympic medals. But that doesn't define who I am today.
Yes.
For me now, what do I do? I'm in the mental health game. I'm a psychotherapist. I work out in Oberstown prison with the young lads. So there's loads of different things I do that a lot of people wouldn't be aware of. They see me, there's Kenny Egan, the Olympic silver medalist.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's not all what Kenny Egan is.
Probably
There's much more layers,
Yeah, but you're probably making more of an impact now on people's lives than you ever done in boxing, realistically.
Definitely. And I remember, coming back from the games with the medal. We hadn't won a medal in 16 years. Michael Carruth and Wayne McCullough were the last medal. So the influx into boxing clubs back then, when I came back from the medal, was amazing. Clubs started to fill up again. They could actually dream again. This is possible.
Yeah.
And then Katie Taylor 4 years later, winning the gold medal, and all the girls coming into the club. So the effect that sport has on people is massive. It's immense.
Yeah.
So for me to be part of that back in 2008, to show people that Ireland can fight, we can step up onto the world stage and represent. Why not? Yeah, we're not here to take part. Exactly. Yeah. And that was the start of it in the journey, and the high performance was getting stronger, and there was more investment, and we started winning more medals. But I was me, Paddy, and Lord rest his soul, Darren Sutherland, were part of that journey.
Yeah, amazing.
Showing people that we can mix it with the best in the world here.
Yeah.
And ever since, we're raking up the Olympic medals.
Yeah, but I do agree with. I can understand why that would be frustrating for people to, especially being such a long time, and more so just all the other positive stuff. I'm sure you don't want all the other positive stuff that you're doing currently to be overshadowed by something that you done in 2008.
But a lot of the stuff I do now, it's confidential. There's a lot of confidentiality around it, my psychotherapy and stuff. And I get the odd text off someone, how you can, just to let you know I'm a year sober today.
Class.
Now, I don't need to tell people that.
Yeah.
That's between me and that person.
Yeah.
But they're the nice little things that I like to hear. That I have been part of this person's journey to allow them stay sober. They're doing the work. They're the people that are staying sober on a daily basis. But I had at the very start of their journey, I had a little part to play. That's what makes me happy today. It's not the Olympic medal. The Olympic medal's in the house there somewhere. It'll always be there, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
As Ronnie Delaney said, once an Olympian, always an Olympian. And it's amazing. Like I said, 2 weeks in August, that was brilliant. But what do I do today is more important to me now. And my sobriety, me being sober today, outweighs any Olympic medal. Me being sober, what I offer the world being in a sober state, outweighs Olympic medals 10 times over.
Yeah.
Being able to go out of it. There's two things I do every day. When I get out of bed in the morning, I tell myself I'm a good person. Because I am a good person.
Yeah.
I'm going out throughout the whole day, not to harm anybody, cause any havoc, rip anyone off, do the right thing. And at night time before I go to bed, I say thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for the life I have today. The gratitude I have for the simple things that I have in life because of my sobriety is what it's all about. I'm a very simple human being.
To be able to put your head down on the pillow that night, knowing that you're a good person and knowing that you haven't done anybody hard done by that day or done any bad things that day, because I think if you are out doing bad stuff, it'll be short-lived, and when you put, because now yourself, you can lie to everybody, but you can't lie to yourself. You know, when you put your head down on the pillow that night, you know, am I a good person or am I not? So I think like definitely, it's definitely a good thing that you have kind of that mindset about it, you know. A lot of men are great at fighting external battles, but terrible at admitting internal ones. Do you think that was true for you back then?
Yeah, like, you know, the persona on the outside, you're a fighter, you're stepping into the ring, you're boxing all the time, you're in the high performance culture, you're putting your body through horrendous amounts of punishment on a weekly basis by running, weights, sparring, all those different things. But deep down, I wasn't looking after my own mental health, and that burned the candle at both ends. No one on the team knew I was drinking to the excess I was, you know, and I kept that a secret because that was my little sweetheart, my little baby that I didn't want that to know about. But I remember coming into the gym on the Tuesday morning, and there was a smell of drink off me, you know, regular. Like, looking back at it, it was the journey I was on. If people had said, would you have been any better if you never drank in your life at all? I don't know, but there's no point crying over spilt milk and trying to assess that. I was very good. I became very good through the guidance of Zara and Billy and Gary Keegan in that environment that they created in the high performance, you know. And it's all about relationships, I feel, you know, and the relationships I struck up with these people allowed me to express myself even more when on a gym floor, because they gave me the opportunity to dream big and test myself with the best in the world and see how good I could be.
Yeah.
And without their guidance and attention and love and attention to detail, I don't know how far I could have went, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
an Olympic silver medal is nothing to be sniffed at. You know, it's an amazing achievement.
Definitely.
With the journey I've been on, 10 times Irish senior champion, the Olympic medal, and another couple of medals. But it's not just one man winning that medal. I know I step in the ring on my own, but there's a great team around you that are ticking all the boxes and doing all the right thing. You know, so it's a team.
It takes a village.
Exactly, it's a team. It's a team event. The Olympic Games. We were all together there representing the country and
Say
doing our
like
best.
that sense of pride of just representing the country and stuff, you know.
Yeah, you're going
amazing.
now. Look, everybody's Olympics is very different. Like every individual athlete's Olympics is different. And I'll give you an example. I missed the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in the Bird's Nest because I was forced on the next day. The way the draw was made, I was forced in from the Irish boxing team, so I couldn't go to the opening ceremony because it was too hot and it went on too long. It was 5 or 6 hours.
Right.
I couldn't go to it. I had to rest in the apartment on my own. So I'm on my own watching the opening ceremony on a little TV in the room on my own because I was weighing in the next morning.
Yeah.
So got the weigh in done, boxed anyway, and the closing ceremony I missed as well because I was being drug tested. So I didn't get a chance to go to the open or the closing ceremony. You know,
Yeah, difficult,
where
yeah.
to experience that Bird's Nest. The Bird's Nest was amazing, and the show they put on, but that didn't bother me because I was sitting there waiting to be tested because I had reached an Olympic final.
Yeah.
So I can't go to the closing ceremony, but I have an Olympic medal around my neck.
Yeah,
you know,
it's good.
And
Yeah.
2 days later, we're back in Dublin, and it's a whirlwhile. Then, like I said,
I can imagine
it's
it
very
went
different.
by very fast, I'd say.
Light and fat. I'm
Do you
44
remember
sitting
much
here in
of
front of you. I'm 44, like.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday I was in the Olympic ring.
Do you remember much of it?
I remember bits of pieces. I remember coming home alright. Of course I do. I remember meeting my mum at the airport and the crowds outside, the banners, the bunting. Like, I've never seen Dublin Airport as busy in my whole life. And it was great to see, you know, that we were getting recognised for boxing for our country, because for many years we go through the airport with medals and nobody be there. So it was great to get the recognition. And it was a massive thing at the time because we hadn't had any success in Olympic Games in a good while. So it was nice to come home and be part of that team. And just put Irish sport back on the map, you know, and Irish boxing back on the map.
Yeah, yeah. You now work in therapy and addiction support. Does helping other people feel like a new version of purpose?
My purpose today is being a better version of myself every day and trying to help as many people as I can on any given day. Whether it's through therapy, I do corporate boxing training as well, where I bring men in who wants to try something different, and you know, they're stepping outside their comfort zone, putting gloves on for the first time and learning how to punch, going through pad work, bag work, circuits, and sometimes even getting sparring.
Yeah.
So this is all new venture for these people, and you can see them
Do you
glowing.
still do a little bit of sparring?
Yeah. I'm staying fit now for this fight coming up in a few weeks.
yeah.
But I'm always tipping away. I do half marathons and stuff like that, like, you know, and keep myself half fit, you know. But I think it's great when you get that. I just want to get the best out of people. I want people to feel good about themselves, you know, whether it's through physical activity or through psychotherapy. And And psychotherapy is a tough gig, you know. You're sitting there with someone for an hour.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You don't know what's going to walk through the door.
Yeah.
Sitting in front of you, you know, and you have to give them your undivided attention.
Yeah.
You know, you have to listen, you have to feel, it's like there's a third person in the room when the magic happens, you know. And
yeah.
I love that though. I'm doing that, Jesus, the last 10 years. I went back to college when I retired.
It's difficult, I'd say. It is sometimes, you know, just feeling like, not like you're taking people's problems on, but I can imagine day after day you're just listening to people's problems. It's difficult for you.
It is, like I said, you don't know what's going to come out of them, you know. You don't know what they're going to unravel. And if they feel comfortable enough and trustworthy enough in that environment, you don't know God knows what they tell you, you know. And that's for me to hold on to, you know. And they say psychotherapy is like I'm a cradler of secrets. They give me those secrets for no one else to hear, and I have to hold on to them until you're ready to process them and deal with them. Now I have a supervisor, I see. So that triggers me.
Once a month, is it?
Once a month, I go and see her once a month to offload. If there's something triggers me that someone has said in the room, what do I need to do with that? Or, so it's great that self-care is important as well in that game, you know, because
would any specific things tend to trigger? Yeah, obviously that, like, never in a million years would you be saying what it was, but just certain topics or whatever.
Yes, things to do with relationships and stuff, and you know, that type of thing, or even around addiction and all, you know. So. But it's important that I look after myself because I'm no good to anyone. Yeah, exactly. So I have a great supervisor over the last few years, who's been looking after me. So it's important that we always, and the ultimate goal in therapy is to do no harm. That's the most important thing. To do no harm to a client is to look after them, help them, guide them, and let them do the work themselves, you know. And I'm a privileged position to do that. Like I said, I went back to college after I retired, back into the books, had to do a diploma and a degree and all those things, which I thought I was never going to do, you know. So life
was it difficult for you, like, you know, going from that kind of life back into like academia?
Yeah, very hard, because I Jesus, it's been a long time since I was in school, you know. But I remember the last senior title I made an attempt at. I got the 3 finals after me 10 in a row with Joe Ward. Yeah, he beat me 3 in a row. So, but my last one, I remember going to Billy Walsh. Brilliant. And I said to Billy Walsh, look, whatever happens in this fight tonight or whatever in the finals against Joe Ward, I'm going to retire. He says, yeah, look, we'd love to have you in as a coach in the high performance. Would you come in as a volunteer? We've no funds at the minute. And I said, no, Billy, I'm not going to come in as a volunteer. And that's when I kind of walked away from boxing, you know. I had enough of it. Joe beat me anyway, and I retired from boxing in the ring that night. Got a standing ovation. It was amazing. Jesus. I've been in that ring 13 years in a row.
Yeah, amazing.
You know what I mean? Senior finals, 13 in a row. And there was young kids there stand up clapping that didn't even witness me winning my first senior title. Yeah. So it was great to see the different generations standing there, giving me a standing ovation, you know. I retired that night then, and I said, right, what am I going to do? And I kind of struggled with that and went back into college. And that was the journey then, you know. I really had to step away from, if Kenny Egan's not the boxer anymore, who was he? So I had to find that new identity.
It is,
you know?
It is definitely, because it's so funny that you didn't, because I think when you were there after 13 years and going like, oh, how am I if I'm not a boxer, it would have actually been easier for you to go, oh well, professional is something new, let's just do that. But you actually didn't do that.
The ship had sailed back then in 2008 when I probably, if I was going to go pro, would have been the right time. This was, 5 years later.
Yeah.
The ship had sailed, you know. I wasn't getting any fitter or stronger, or, you know. At the tail end of my career, and that was the right thing to do. I delighted I'd retired on that night in the ring with Joe Ward, but he's an exceptional talent. Jesus, he was very good. He was very good. Yeah.
But definitely, it's hard to see people hold on to it, isn't it? You know, because I see that a lot with fighters, like, where
it's so sad.
I'm kind of just like, what are you
it's
still
doing?
Sad.
It's so sad. But look, what can you do?
Of course.
They have to find their own way.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I got the career I got over, like that 10 years, that senior level, longer, 11, 12 years. But and to represent the country and travelled all over the world 10 times over. Yeah, you know, it's amazing. An amazing life I lived for 12 years. And then just to step away from it then, unscathed to a degree, you know, like, my nose isn't too bad.
Your faculties
I can still half speak. I'm not too bad, you know. People say I'm the handsomest, I'm the most handsome boxer in the country, but I wouldn't I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't argue. There's a guy, Tony Brown, who used to box. He claims
Tony, I love Tony
he claims he's the best looking boxer in the country. But look, we have this argument every now and again over a cup of coffee.
Good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's gas, man. He'll be hearing this podcast now. He knows knows who the best. He knows who number
I'm
one
sure
is.
Tony will be on the podcast anyway, you know.
Yeah.
I was actually only supposed to meet him the other week.
He's a good
for
skin.
the fight deep, but Tony says he's the best looking, does he?
Well, that's what he thinks. Don't not gonna argue. Look, leave him. He's 10 years younger than me, so
both
he can have it. He can have
it. Anyway, isn't it?
He can have it. He can have it.
If someone is listening to this today who's battling addiction, depression, or they feel like they're losing themselves, what's one thing you'd want them to hear?
Look, it's simple. The old saying, you know, a problem shared is a problem halved. Talk.
Yeah, I think
connect.
It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, connect with someone. You know, someone that you feel you can trust. So it doesn't have to, even if you don't know them, just pick up the phone. There's plenty of helplines out there, but reach out and just take that first step. The first step is always the hardest, but it's the best step you'll ever take. Ask for help. Investigate what's going on for you. Try and figure out why you are the way you are or what's going on for you, and try and work on that issue. You know, psychotherapy, wherever it may be. But just pick up the phone and ask for the help.
And there's so many people who want to help you as well, I think. I think that's what, you know, I think when people are in bad pits in their life, or they're down dark holes, or they're really struggling, they think that they're worthless, and they think that actually nobody cares about them or nobody wants to help them, but it's actually not true, you know. I've just seen it throughout my life with different scenarios, and sometimes even myself feeling like, you know, getting into bad ruts, because, you know, I would never been immune to feeling like that as well. There'd be some times like where life wasn't going my way, and even throughout my injury and stuff, and just struggling with that, going like, oh, nobody really cares about you anyway, like, you know. That's sometimes, you know, I'd have that voice in my head, and then thankfully I have like the best of people around me, and quickly reminded, no, that's not the case, or I'm able to snap out of it. But it is a slippery slope when you're having them thoughts, but people do want to help, you know.
Yeah, and it goes back to that thinking, doesn't it? You know, those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
They can keep you in that rut for a long period of time if you allow them, if you allow it, you know. And they come to us so easy, negative thoughts.
It's so funny with that little voice, isn't it? Like, even with, it's so funny, like, even with somebody like you're saying, seeing your titles, like, one of the hardest things anybody can ever do in the world, and still does that voice in your head going, you're sure you're not good enough. But there's more proof of you winning the ace in your titles. There's more proof to say that you are the man, as opposed to that voice in your head going, no, you're shit. But a lot of the time as humans, we just listen to that voice so much, isn't it? It's crazy.
In my qualifying fight, when I fought the German, I had to beat the German to qualify for Beijing, right? We were in the ring. The first round, we sat back in our stools. It was 2-2, right? Back out, fought again for another 2 minutes. Sat back in our stools. It was 4-4. So this was neck and neck. Whoever wins this fight goes to Beijing. Going into the third round, it's like time stood still, right? And all these thoughts come into my head in the middle of this fight. What if I don't qualify? I'm only going to remember as an 8-time senior champion. What am I going to do for work?
Now, you were thinking about all this.
Who's going to pay me? What job am I going to do? What am I going to do for the rest of my life? All these things. And the red stop sign came into my head. Now, this one you see on the road, a red stop sign, that came into my head. Stop. And I snapped down my little trance, and in my head, just get the next score.
Yeah.
Score the next point.
Bang.
And I scored the next shot. Then I moved around, scored again. I stepped back in the stool. I was 2 or 3 points up. Went out into the last round and won the last round. But how crazy that was in that third round to be thinking all those different things.
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
Instead of just staying in the here and now, just score that next point. One shot.
Yeah. Because there is, I remember Russell Brand talking about it. It's like, what you say, he said, I don't know exactly what he was saying, but he was like, all I need to do is stay sober today, do you know? And obviously when tomorrow comes, like, you'll have that same thought process, stay sober today. There's no point in, you know, because I even know from kind of trying to think too far down the line, like, your mind runs away when you're...
When my mum was sick last year, November, she went into the hospital with cancer, and she was in the hospital for a period of time, not that long. And in my head, my addiction was on my shoulder, thinking, right, when she passes now and the funeral comes around, that's your green card for a few pints of Guinness.
Yeah.
I know you had this all set up in my head.
Yeah.
No one's going to judge you. You're going to be sad. You're going to be crying. Let him have a few points.
Yeah.
So I almost gave myself the green card to allow me to drink without confrontation or judgment. So that was my addiction on my shoulder, trying to get the better of me. So we had the funeral, went back to the local for our soups and sandwiches with a glass of sparkling water, said hello to everyone, and then just reversed out of the room and back to the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it is.
But that could have been,
even building that little narrative into your head, isn't it? Because it's
Telling
like
me stories.
Yeah, because but again, it's that little thing where you're like, so no one's even gonna judge you because you have a right to be like this. Because
And look, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sober a long time now, but I still think of drinking every now and again.
yeah,
You know. And what I do is, I think of a pint of Guinness. That's what sticks out in my head, and how creamy it looks and beautiful and all those things. But I'd fast forward 10 days from that first pint I drink and see where I'm at.
yeah,
But I tell you where I'm at. I'm down in the arsehole of Kerry somewhere, a little country pub with a firelight in the corner, with a wad full of 50s, high-fiving some 90-year-old, tell them loads of dirty jokes with a smell of piss out my jeans. That's my first pint of Guinness.
yeah.
So what do? I stay away from that first pint of Guinness. Then I won't end up in Kerry. I won't be divorced. I won't, none of that.
Yeah.
My awareness allows me make those choices.
Yeah. But there's so much, you'd be literally sacrificing your whole life for one thing. And that's what they say about addiction, isn't it? It's giving up one thing for everything versus giving up everything for one thing.
Yeah. But like, it's that one first drink. If I stay, it's not about the 100 points after the first. It's that first pint of Guinness. Once I stay away from that, I'm all right.
Yeah.
But it's a day at a time. Like, I remember being in an early recovery, going to a meeting, and this big American come up to me and he says, Kenny, he said, what's the record for someone staying sober? And I was looking at him, I don't know, 80 years. No, he said, 24 hours.
Yeah.
And look, I did at the time, I didn't really understand what he was talking about, but it's so true. Oh, I'm finished with you now today, right? I have to go off and do a few bits this evening. I'm not going to drink today, hardly.
Yeah.
Tomorrow when I wake up, then I'll worry about tomorrow.
Yes. Just today,
I'm not going to drink today.
Yeah. But it's like that for all aspects of life, isn't it? Really, just take every day at a time.
Keeping it simple.
That's it. What do they say? Kiss. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah.
Tell us about your upcoming fight before we wrap up.
Yeah, so I'm getting back in the ring. I know I must be half mad. I must have banged my head somewhere along the line. I haven't fought competitively since 2013, so this is a long time out of the ring. But I've always kept myself half active. I do a bit of coaching, I do a bit of sparring and with my clients and stuff. So I'm not totally over the hill yet, like I think. But I'm signed up to fight on a show on July the 11th to raise funds for the Irish Cancer Society. As I mentioned, my mum passed away from cancer last year, so I was just trying to think, what could I do, to try and make something worthwhile of my mum's passing, and obviously with the cancer. So I got in touch with the Irish Cancer Society and we set up a GoFundMe page. So it's Kenny Egan, The Last Dance on the GoFundMe page. So anyone that can donate €1, €2, €3, doesn't matter. So there's €10,000 in it already, so over
Brilliant.
10 grand. So the target is 15. So July the 11th, I'm fighting a guy called Lucas Castillo. He's a Brazilian. It's at 95 kilo. So I used to fight at 81. I'm not 81 anymore, as you can see. I put on a few pounds, but I'm not worried about the weight. I'm about 92 myself, 93, but it's over 4 2-minute rounds. It's the main event on the night in July the 11th in the Bluebell Football Club. So you can buy tickets. I can put up a link on my Instagram, or I'll give you the link and you can share it. And you can watch it on YouTube as well. There's an option to watch it on YouTube. You can come in person, and like I said, you can donate to the GoFundMe page, Kenny Egan, The Last Dance, to raise funds for the Irish Cancer Society. So getting back in. Am I nervous? I am nervous, yeah. Am I worried? I am worried. But look, my brain will probably think I'm back in 2008, but my body won't. My body won't work.
How is preparation going for it?
Going well. Getting a bit of sparring in, get me running in, a few weights. I'm enjoying it again. I'm feeling happy. I like.
I'd say it's nice to kind of not have to feel that big amount, even though, like we just talked about, it's still kind of a fight, and but I'd say it's a big burden off not having to feel the pressure of it, like made to a different level, I think. Like,
I know myself from experience, obviously. If I was fighting in a league final, an All-Ireland final, a senior final, or Olympic final, when you're in the dressing room, 10 minutes before you go out, I had the same feelings in all three type of bouts. What the hell am I doing this for?
Yeah.
That nervous, it's great, but you just bite down the gumtree and say, let's have a bit of fun with this. So look, this is a no-brainer. I'm getting in here, this guy, he's quite decent, he's a bit of a big puncher, but I want to test myself, and it's not about, look, the real winner out of this is the charity,
Of course.
Do I want to win the fight? Of course I do.
Of course.
But look, we'll have a look and see what way he goes after he gets a few smacks. Yeah. And likewise, we'll see. But it's going to be a great night.
Was it Mike who said everybody has a game plan until they get hit?
That's right. Yeah. Now, my logo is, or my quote is, I'm not a big puncher. I won't hit you very hard, but I'll hit you regular. That's me all over, So
accumulation,
yeah. So look, I'm looking forward to that. So back into training. I'm going to just under 4 weeks left. So I'm training away, keeping the good side. That's nice, good to feel good again, you know, feel healthy, eating right, watching me diet, all those things. So
Nice.
it's all good. I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me on. Apologies about the delays and all that, but you know yourself, man is busy, you know yourself.
Of course,
it's great, it's great.
Oh, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. See you again next week.